Welcome to That's Too Personal, the show that talks about extremely personal, hilarious, and often uncomfortable situations and conundrums of everyday life. On this episode, we have hosts Dakota Sabo and Kaici Lore. This might be too personal.
So I went to Vice last night.
Oh, God.
I went to Vice last night. It's the first time I've been out in a long time where I've been single and can hit on people. And I was dancing with my friends. And I spot this girl across the dance floor. I left my friends and just walked over. I swear to God, I said this to her. You're too gorgeous to be dancing alone. You want to dance? She's like, oh, you're so pretty. Yeah, absolutely. And then we just started dancing. And so I started kissing her neck. And she's like, this is so much fun. I love every second of this. I'm like, all right, well, you should give me your number. She's like, okay. And pulls her phone out and I put my number in. I text me and she tells me her name. And so we start making out. And then obviously I'm holding her real close to my body. We're dancing, making out. And she pulls away and she goes, I have to stop. You're really, really pretty, but I still have a boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. Well, you have my number. Text me whenever you're ready.
Welcome to That's Too Personal, episode 5. As you can see, we've moved on in our lives a little bit.
It's been a minute. It's been a long minute.
It's been either a year and a half, 2 years. I'm not really sure.
At this point, it just feels all like a blur.
Yeah, we've talked about having the podcast a few times and tightening up the format. So I think we're gonna try that a little bit on this episode.
Yes.
Not exactly keep it PG, obviously, as we just as our cold open potentially just happened, but just turn down the smut just a tad and talk about helping people, because that's something we really like to do on the show.
Correct.
Well, I want to do.
Well, it was the whole point of starting this in the first place.
I've been finding myself recently wishing I had something like this to help me. I wish I knew someone else was going through some
Correct.
of the things I'm going through right now, so I know I'm not alone, and just how they navigate that. There's a lot of informational articles on this sort of thing, but it's very bookish. I don't know how to describe it.
It's like listicle.
Impersonal.
It feels like listicles. They're. I mean, do you know what I mean? They're just. It's just like a bullet point of things, and every situation is nuanced. So even if you're not going through exactly the same thing as we're going through, you can still kind of pick up things, or maybe you're exactly going through that, and it's nice knowing that you're not alone.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, so I guess let's just get right into it. Where kind of are we in our lives? Sort of the big things that have happened with me. I think on the last episode that we had together, I had been with my girlfriend for a year or something like that.
I think so, yeah.
And now she's living with you.
Yeah, she is.
Which was sort of an interesting scenario, especially when I was telling my coworkers that my current girlfriend is moving in with someone I've dated.
Yeah, well.
All the guys were like, "Oh, fucking three-way, you're gonna do that." It's like, no, that's not what that is at all.
No.
Just
three-ways are overrated.
4 ways are where it's at, because if one person leaves, it's still a 3-way.
Yep.
But really, it was sort of a weird, honestly, it wasn't weird for me at all. I thought, Casey's my friend, my girlfriend needs a roommate, so it just made sense.
Well, I mean, and I knew she needed someplace to stay, and I had the extra space, and I don't like being alone all the time, and it's already paid off. I mean, she helps me take care of the kitties every so often, because I'm not there all the time, and she's not there all the time as well. But still, it's nice having someone else in the house besides me. That way, they have someone to love on.
Yeah, because you've been there just by yourself for a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And all right, so where are you right now in your life?
So I have ended my long-term relationship, which we all talked about for the past other episodes, all the cute moments. Sadly, that is over, which is heartbreaking, but at the same time, it was very, very much needed. It needed to happen. People grow, people change as you get older.
How long are we guys together? Was it about 3 years?
We celebrated our 3-year anniversary on May the 21st. Okay. And then we broke up about a week ago.
Okay.
So this is deep fresh. Full stop.
Very fresh, yeah.
V fresh.
So I guess some of the topics today are going to be kind of centered around that and how you deal with how people deal with those feelings and the scenarios and what kind of leads up to that, and just how you go through that, navigate that space a little bit. That's something a lot of people have experience with.
Correct.
And
they're not fully sure how to navigate it because maybe everyone around them is getting married. I mean, we're in our late 20s now.
Yeah.
And everyone is either getting married or getting into their careers. Not a lot of people are dating anymore. We're all just kind of floating in this weird what if.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
We have fucked around on the tutorial and here we are now screwed.
It does
trying to fix everything.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It does kind of feel like the 20s are really a tumultuous time. Tumultuous,
yeah.
Yeah. Time of turmoil and whatnot. Well, there's an alliteration for you. But like, I'm really like, what, my 30s, that's really where I'm going to hit my stride. I mean, I keep telling myself that.
I put more prep into what's going into my 30s. Like, about a month ago, I really started thinking about having children and what I wanted, because that's one major thing I want to do with my life is be a full-time actor and be a mother. So I said, you know what? At this point, I know my relationship is about to end. I'm just going to go ahead and put a plan in action now. I'm going to give myself 10 years, build like the perfect sperm donor application. and when 10 years hits, then get pregnant. Because at that point I'll be starting to get into my late 30s. Hopefully by that point have somewhat of a career. If not, I at least have like a backup coming in.
Sure.
Because that's really one major thing I want to do. Not everyone has that at all. Not everyone. There's a lot of people that don't want children. There's a lot of people that don't want relationships. There's a lot of people that don't want a lot of things.
Well, and I think coming out of a relationship is a real good time to assess those things. Mm-hmm. Or like when you're having difficulties in a relationship, to really sit down and take stock of what's going on in the moment, what you want, because you have to know what you want before you can succeed in a relationship.
Well, at the end of the day, even though you're in a team environment in a relationship, you have to worry about you, because if you're not taking care of you, you can't take care of your partner.
Yeah.
And if you are putting goals aside, major goals that you've thought about longer than this person has been in your life, that is a problem. Now, if it's something like my goal is to sleep with 50 women, then okay, you should push that to the side.
That's a different 50 first dates.
That's a different kind of goal. But like one of my major goals is to move out of West Virginia for a little bit, and signs were starting to pop up that our mindset on that wasn't the same. And I'm not going to sit around and wait for the end.
Yeah.
When it's me literally driving to Los Angeles, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to wait that long. I would rather just spend the time being single.
You have to do the things that you want to do.
Correct.
And you have to find a way to do that with somebody,
mm-hmm.
or find somebody that's compatible with that vision.
At this point, I would just rather be single and not have to deal with any of it. Just fuck people.
Right.
Not have sex, but like, I don't want to deal with humans anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to take stock.
Yeah,
during those moments.
Absolutely.
And it is, you don't really want to rush into something right away, but you do. I mean, it's just a time to explore. It's just a different scenario.
Well, in a relationship, you do kind of lose yourself a bit.
Yeah.
You put aside things that you would do more for yourself as a sacrifice to your partner.
Absolutely.
And when you are coming out of a relationship, you have to take stock about what you were losing and how to get it back if you want it back, And I think I lost not a whole lot of myself, but enough that like I'm appreciating my solitude again, and I'm appreciating being able to go to Vice and just randomly hit on a chick.
Right.
Even though all of this nastiness happened, I mean, it wasn't nasty. It was just a very clean breakup, and it wasn't amicable because he was blindsided by it, which is fair. Sometimes you do get blindsided with a breakup. But I could legitimately feel myself losing myself towards the end of this relationship. And myself is more important than a relationship in which I lose myself.
Yeah, oh, for sure. And like you said, it wasn't amicable. And I think it's important to recognize that there are all sorts of there are different types of breakups.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not always about fairness, unfortunately. It's about what's healthy for both people.
Exactly. Yeah. So one major thing that was happening in the relationship is I was being emotionally checked out, which is not something I knew was a thing because I always assumed that was just boredom. After a while, romantic love dies. It's kind of like a wave. It ebbs and flows in and out of a relationship. At least that's my theory on it. I could be completely wrong. There could be other people that go, no, romantic love always exists. I mean, we're all living in the Notebook.
So what were some of the signs? How did you recognize this?
The three major signs for me, and this could be this isn't for everyone.
There's like a list. I know what you're talking about.
I found like 12, 15, 16 different lists, and I read just about all of them. And most of them were like, you would rather spend time with your friends, you're looking at your cell phone way more, you're staying attached to social media a lot more, you're trying to be alone more, like trying to have solitude a lot more, you're losing sleep. Like my insomnia was dreadful. You're not eating well. You're mainly, the biggest one that was a giant red flag for me was wanting to spend more time with friends than with your partner.
Right.
That and spending more time on social media. Those were the two that like, I read those and I was like, yeah, this is
describe you exactly.
This is exactly what's going on. I mean, I was reading these and sobbing, going, this is exactly what's happening. And I didn't even know it was really a thing. So I think that's something that everyone needs to look at. I mean, we only get taught so much about relationships from our parents and from our friends and stuff. Emotionally checking out is not something that we checked off on the list of things to know about relationships.
Well, and you have all these relationships in your life that you see, like your parents' relationships, your friends, but everyone is so different. And what may be healthy for one or be seen as strong for one might not be exactly the same for
absolutely.
You and your relationship.
Absolutely. Because I mean, there's got to be other relationships that thrive on spending time away from each other and then coming back to each other at the end of the night. There has to be relationships that thrive on the things that destroyed my relationship. Not destroyed, but ended it.
Yeah, that contributed to it.
Yeah, it contributed to the ending. It's just very important that people check out what emotionally checking out is.
This is something that my partner and I do. We did a lot more towards the beginning of our relationship, but about once a month we'd sit down and take stock. We'd have a conversation like, what's going on, how do we feel, and we'd bring up tough topics, things that were really bothering us, and I think that can really help out a lot of people if you really sit there and not just take stock for yourself, but talk to your partner and find out how they're feeling, because that way you don't grow to resent the other person, which can't always be avoided, but that is definitely one way of trying to end things amicably, or at least if you do end up leaving a relationship where you don't hate the other person. And you can still have some sort of a relationship with them, some sort of positive relationship.
Well, at the end of the day, the most important thing to a relationship is communication. Mm-hmm. Communication and understanding. You can take stock in all of these issues and things that are going wrong, but if your partner is not willing to put in the effort to understand what those mean and how to fix those, then it's a problem. Communication and understanding are key to successful relationships. I wholeheartedly believe that.
Absolutely. And if you have a partner and they're not contributing the way you feel is good for you, or that sounds bad. Let me rephrase that. You know, if you're not getting something out of a relationship that you need and crave, that's not going to heal itself.
No, not at all. And to get just a little bit personal, my ex self-medicates a lot with marijuana. He's a huge pothead, which is fine. I don't mind marijuana. It's fine. I smoke it myself, not as much as him, but recreationally. And the self-medication is denying him the understanding of what is going on and what's wrong. So every time I would bring up something to talk about, it would be like talking to a wall, because he wasn't able to fully lock in what was happening, or he would get defensive about it and apologize for it, which doesn't change the behavior.
No.
That's another thing. If someone brings up something and you don't change the behavior, that's a bad sign for your relationship.
No, I mean, that's acknowledging a problem, but it's not dealing with it in any sort of meaning.
Not at all. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
and a potential, and it is relationship wrecking.
Yeah. How do you deal with being in a relationship and not having deep conversations? How did you cope with that?
The way I coped with it was having conversations with my friends about how to go about having these conversations with my partner. And inevitably, I would say the exact same thing to him as I would my friends, except my friends were the ones that were picking up the context and understanding and listening to me. So you can only say so many things to a partner. You can only communicate so much, but if their actions aren't changing because of what you're saying, then they're not invested in a relationship and you're not a priority. And really, in a relationship, your partner should be your number one priority.
Yeah.
Now, yes, you also have work and you also have family and you also have other things. But at the end of the day, if you want a successful relationship, your partner has to be your number one priority. Has to be.
I've always heard that a successful relationship is both people giving 100%.
Exactly. Well,
I mean, obviously, like you said, there are other things in your life.
You can't like Chris Rock has a special on Netflix, and it's called Tambourine.
Okay.
And yeah, you should be giving 100%, but sometimes you can't give 100%. Sometimes you can give 80%, and your partner's got to pick up that extra 20%. Sometimes you've got 20%, or they've got 20%, and you got to pick up the extra 80.
But you give what you can.
Yeah, you give, you try. You try.
Relationships are work.
Exactly. Yeah. This isn't like you find somebody and then you're done. You have to constantly work on these because they constantly change. Just like human beings, everything changes. Everything evolves as we get older, and the more we know things, and the more we grow, and the more we do things in our lives. And
people in relationships change over time.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I found is you have to find a way to still do the things you care about and contribute to yourself while also contributing to your partner and that health and that relationship. Mm-hmm. And that can be very trying, and it's not always clear cut on how you navigate that and how you delegate your energy.
This part of the world and part of human nature is so many shades of gray that it's hard to fully understand it and navigate it. But if you don't at least try to navigate it with your partner who's willing to go with you through all of these shades of gray, and that's a problem. That's something you've got. If you're not willing to at least attempt to try things, then there is no reason for you to be in a relationship.
Yeah, I think if you find yourself,
even more so if you're the person bringing up wanting to get married and having children and building a house together and doing all of these very adult natured things, which are great and things that we all want to do because we all were fed the American dream and
right.
We all want it now. even though it'll never happen. But if your partner is the only one putting effort in towards those dreams that the two of you have discussed, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And when your partner brings it up to you and then you don't do anything about it, that's another problem.
That's a big roadblock. You can't get past that.
It's disrespectful to your partner. It's very, very disrespectful to your partner. And it could, if wants change over time, because that can happen, you have to be willing to be open and completely transparent with your partner. And if you don't want to be transparent with your partner, you're doing a disservice to your relationship.
So at what point do you recognize, or do people recognize they should get out of a relationship? Like, is cheating ever not justified, but I think if you start thinking about cheating, that's sort of a red flag.
Yeah, I think that's a major red flag. I don't think, personally for me, I think if you think about cheating, that's the time to end the relationship, because that is something that's very disrespectful to not only yourself, but to your partner. There's no reason for cheating to be justified at all.
No.
At all.
If you're having those feelings, you should end the relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely do not act on those while you're in a relationship.
No.
Because that's...
And really, you shouldn't act on those relationships even if you've just ended a relationship, because at that point you're still hurting and healing from this relationship, and that's not fair to the other person.
No.
Because they may want a full relationship with you. They may want to do X, Y, and Z with you, but you are healing from a loss. You're grieving from a loss, and using a person like that is disgusting.
Yeah.
And disrespectful. And I'm saying that as a woman that has been cheated on, has cheated with somebody. It's no one wins.
No.
The only thing that happens is everyone gets hurt.
Really, your best course of action
It's just to end it. If you feel like cheating, just end the relationship. Full stop.
Okay. So what do you think is a good idea? Like, how should people move on after a breakup? How do you do it? Or how have you done it in the past versus now?
I mean,
obviously this is super fresh.
This is very, very fresh. For me, what I have to do is embrace the solitude. And I'm very comfortable being alone. I'm very, very comfortable. I've had to rely on myself for a lot of things in life. So I'm used to doing things just 100% Kaici. So what I do is I'll reach out to my friends, spend time with them, and enjoy the solitude and try and get back into just having nothing but solitude. Embrace the loneliness, embrace the sadness, embrace the depression that comes in.
Yeah, I think that's really important. You can't ignore that sadness. That's part of it. You are going to hurt. Well, you're probably going to hurt if you end a relationship in which you were invested in and cared about.
When I ended my relationship, I felt relief, but at the same time, it was still heartbreaking because I do still care about this person and I love the person, even after all the negative things that have happened.
Sure.
So even though it was a relief because I know I did the right thing that needed to happen, albeit a little bit later than it should have, I can't deny the sadness I feel. I've cried myself to sleep a couple of nights. My insomnia is not, my sleep schedule isn't doing too great, but pain demands to be felt. You can't just ignore it. You can't put a Band-Aid on it. You can't.
And ignoring it is super unhealthy. You have to just tackle it. This time around, and I don't know if it's because the people I'm around or if it's I just have the availability for it now, but with the ending of this relationship, I've noticed that I'm drinking a bit more. Not to get drunk, not to like black out, but just to like take the edge off a bit. Mm-hmm. And that unnerves me a little bit because I don't want to fall into... Is that something have you been a drinker in the past?
I mean, I'm more of a social drinker.
Yeah.
I'll usually like go out to the club, have a beer, go to the bar with friends, have a couple of beers. Like nothing that I would warrant, needing to find help for.
Right.
But this time around, I'm starting to see signs of just like slight alcoholism. Not anything that I feel I won't be able to control. Because,
it's good that you you're acknowledging it.
My dad's an alcoholic, and so I've seen the signs. I know what to look for. So when I see my own behavior mirroring that, I try and pull back a little bit. It's the same way. It's the same way with cigarettes. It's the same way with other substances. I've been able to see the behavior, notice it in myself, and try and pull back a little bit. And I'm noticing myself drinking a lot more. And I know that in a couple of weeks, that'll probably be fine. The environment I'm in right now will have ended.
Sure.
Less chances to be getting hammered. I think it's very important to move on. I think that's something that not a lot of people fully understand is a vital part. It's okay to mourn.
Sure.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be relieved. It's okay to feel a full range of emotions. You don't have to just be in woe. You don't have to just be in anguish. You don't have to just be sad or mad about this thing.
And I think everyone's moving on process is different.
Oh, absolutely.
Depending on the relationship. And, this could be, a romantic relationship or really any type of relationship.
Absolutely.
If you lose a best friend or have a falling out with somebody, you still have to deal with that.
You have to grieve. You have to grieve the loss. Because if you don't grieve the loss, it will come back.
And try not to dwell on it.
Yeah.
Because that can really ruin you for a time.
The best advice I've gotten this week was give yourself 72 hours to grieve. 72 hours to just feel everything and anything as much as you can. And then start rebuilding. Just let it flow. If it needs to come out, if more stuff needs to come out, that's fine. Just let it happen. But take 72 hours. If you need to drink it away. If you need to just lay in bed. It's okay. And it's one major thing that needs to be reminded to our generation is that it's okay to be alone. You don't have to have a person in your life. You don't have to have a fuck buddy or a romantic partner or, anything of that ilk. It's okay to just be by yourself. I think we get fed this idea because of social media and...
Well, you see everyone's highlights and that sort of
correct.
thing and the happiness there.
And it feels like everyone's getting married and having children, and there's all these famous people that are getting married and having children. That's all we see. And it's what we were force-fed as children that's what you do. You get married, you have children, you got a career, boom, 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 boom. And here we are in our late 20s, not married, learning that being alone is perfectly fine.
Yeah. There's a really, it's used frequently on Reddit.
I can't go on Reddit. I'm a girl.
Oh, God. Every episode.
I'm going to do it.
But it's... When you break up or get out of a relationship, turn off social media, hit the gym, and get a lawyer. See, that's mainly for like marriage type of things.
I was always told to get over a guy, you get under a new one.
Right. I think that's super unhealthy.
It is.
It's fun.
Sex does not equate love, and that needs to be broadcasted to the entirety of our generation. Now, it's fine to have casual sex. It's perfectly fine.
Get that dick appointment.
But
lickety slit.
That is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. What were we talking about?
Getting underneath a new guy.
It's fine to have casual sex, but don't do it in a place of mourning. You shouldn't be having casual sex if you've just gotten out of a relationship. And I am saying that as a girl.
That also means funerals, by speaking of mourning. But,
I think something that's very important in regards to casual sex and all of that is noting when you're mourning. And I know personally for me, I was going to take somebody home when I went to the club. And then I sat there for like a second and kind of reassessed the situation and realized the only reason I was doing it is so that I could have physical contact and get under a new person. And that wasn't going to do anything positive. It wasn't going to make me feel better in the long term.
Sure.
It wasn't going to make this girl feel better in the long term. It wasn't going to make anyone feel any good at all. So really, casual sex is fantastic. Grieving needs to happen.
It's also fantastic.
But the two do not need to go together.
No, they do not.
They're like water and electricity. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's exciting for a moment.
It's like it'll
only end in pain.
It's a temporary solution.
Yeah.
It's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
Well, I think that's going to be it for this episode of That's Too Personal. I've been Dakota Sabo.
And I've been Kaici Lore.
And we will see you on the next episode.
Peace out.
This has been an episode of That's Too Personal. For more That's Too Personal, visit fuss.com.